So last we read, thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of the relatives. So we read about the death of the 5 sons of Draupadi and how Arjun took revenge by not killing Ashwadhama, at the same time disgracing him by removing his money and letting him go of his pride. Chapter 8 of Canto 1. This chapter is called Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved. Somebody wants to read the Sanskrit?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sutta uvacha अथ ते संपरेतानां स्वानामुदकमिच्छतां धातु कृष्णा गंगया परिष्कृत्य ययुस्त्रिय. Suta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganga with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front.
Next.
ते निनियोदकं सर्वे विलप्य च भृश पुनः आलुप्ता हरिपादाब्ज रजः पूतसरिज्जले. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganga's water, they bathed in the Ganga, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord.
So I'm not explaining these, as these are various rituals. Okay. Keep going, Mataji.
तत्रासीन कुरुपति धृतराष्ट्र सहानुजं गान्धारी पुत्र शोकार्तां वृथा कृष्णा च माधव. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaja Yudhishthira, along with his younger brother and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with the grief. Lord Krishna was also there.
Yep.
सान्त्वयामास मुनिभिर हतबन्धुश्चार्पितान् भूतेषु कालस्य गति दर्शयन्न प्रतिक्रियाम्. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Shri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected.
So we are talking about, when there's death in the family. Of course, there is this is a great time when people ask insightful questions. It's called Samshan Vairagya. We start suddenly asking, what is the point of life? What are we doing? Right? Is it all worth it? End of the day, it's all over, right? So it's kind of like those questions come to mind. And that's what death has, so many rituals and things like that. For the 7 days of lamentation, or sometimes 13 days of lamentation, followed by, certain food rituals, certain things you don't do for one whole year. Because it's supposed to be a reminder for us that, life as we know it can change at any given point. So it's important that we get our act together, right? We ask questions. Now, most people, after a little bit, every death that happens, Samshan Vairagya, because Vairagya comes and then suddenly it leaves. Because, okay, back to normal, everything is okay. We go back to illusion again. But some people's eyes are opened, when there is death. Like, wow. I shouldn't say it like that, but when I was a kid, my grandfather passed away. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I just couldn't fathom the idea that a person who was living, breathing, talking, suddenly doesn't exist. It was like, how does that work? And as a kid, then I started thinking, I'm going to die. And this window, this door, this house, everything will exist. I won't exist. How does that work? Like, is this life? Is there anything beyond it? At that point, my father uh, taught me that there is nothing beyond your life. And my mother told me there is a lot beyond this life. And there is, other things, other realms and everything. And as a kid, 4 or 5 year old, I did not know which way to go, right? And I started meditating. I started asking questions whenever I would see somebody who's slightly religious, your household priest, your, somebody who's a Sikh Gurdwara guy. I would just ask questions about God and death and life after death and all, and try to find answers. And the whole journey went all the way to when I went to US, first year at college. Finally, I met my mentor. Finally, I came across his God, and finally I got my answers, right? So death is supposed to be that moment which makes us ask questions, that life as we know it will change. And it's not like everybody dies at the age of 80, 90. People can die early also. One time Srila Prabhupada was with press media, and they were asking, Srila Prabhupada, how are you able to get these young men and women to join your Hare Krishna movement? When the Christians in the churches, if you go, it's mostly older people, right? Is this the right time for these young people to join the spiritual movement, or should they be enjoying life and doing all these things that young people do? And when they get old, maybe that's when they can go to spirituality. And Srila Prabhupada says, he answered, he said, how do you define old? And the person said, well, old means, you're close to death. He said, so how can you tell that when you're 20 years old or 25 years old, you're not close to death? How do you know you're going to live? When death is going to come. So close to death means old, and death can come at any moment. So why wait for old age when you can pick up spirituality right now? And that's what spiritual persons and spiritual books and literature are supposed to remind us, that death can come at any moment. So here we see the situation where the Pandavas have won, the Kauravas have died. Kunti Devi has lost one son, Karna, whereas what's the name of the wife of Dhritarashtra?
Gandhari.
Gandhari. Gandhari has lost all her 100 kids, 100 children. So there is a lot of trauma here. Draupadi has lost all her 5 sons, right? So there's a lot of trauma here. So and Krishna is present, right? That's the position of uh, now here. Krishna is not acting as God, although some of us know he's God and some don't know he's God, right? But he's acting as a leader, and people look up to this leader, right? Like when death happens, the leader in that whole thing is like, why is this happening? How is it fair? God is so unfair. And then, some people say some things, oh, he has become a star, or whatever Harry Potter ideas they have, right? But if there's a spiritual person, that can completely transform the whole atmosphere. And these people are very fortunate that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, truth personified, is present in this situation. So as the Pandavas are desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who have desired it, went to the Ganga with Draupadi. Ladies walked in front, having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganga water. They bathed in the Ganga, whose water is sanctified due to the mix of the dust of the lotus feet of Lord, which means Ganga is sanctified because Ganga was came through when Vamadev's toenail punctured the covering of the universe. So the celestial waters seeped in, so it touched the lotus feet of Lord Hari, Lord Vamadev. That's why Ganga is considered Chanamrit. So much so that Lord Shiva put it on his jata, that he didn't want it to be carried in a kamandulu or something. This is the water from the lotus feet of Vamadev. So Lord Shiva carried it on his jata and gently let her into planet Earth. So So Ganga, as many of us are from Kolkata, so we are very fortunate. Every day our water that comes to our house is Ganga water. We are very fortunate that way, right? Sanctified water. It's Charnamrit. Whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his younger brother, and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was there also. And citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. So you see Krishna's role, he's a relative here. He is not acting as God, but as a relative also setting an example how to be a good relative, right? If you look at Krishna, when Arjun lost his son Abhimanyu, Arjun came to the Pandavas and he started yelling at them that you're Pandavas, each one of you are capable of protecting my son, and yet not one of you were able to come and save him, right? So he was letting it out, and his brothers, elders, younger, everybody was just tolerating because he obviously is a father who lost his son. And Krishna held him, and Krishna said, don't channel your anger this way to your loved ones. Let's channel your anger towards your enemies, and let's plan the strategy for tomorrow. And as you all know, how Krishna orchestrated the whole thing of killing Drishtadyumna and all. So Krishna is always playing that role of being a guide and a mentor, right? Now, how does he do it in our case? Of course, he's sitting as Paramatma in the heart. But it is also important that we understand Krishna speaks through Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Guru, spiritual master; Sadhu, those who are following the scriptures; and Shastra, the scriptures themselves. Krishna speaks to us through these three modes. So many times I have shared with you that if you are in doubt, dilemma, open the Bhagavad Gita to a random page, you will find a verse where Krishna will speak to you. If you are in doubt, call your mentor, call some sadhu, call somebody who you trust is aligned with spiritual knowledge, and let them guide you through it. And of course, Guru is the mouthpiece of God. He's external manifestation of Paramatma. So what to speak of a pure devotee Guru, speaking to you. So Krishna speaks to us through these channels. And if we look at our scriptures, all situations have been covered: birth, death, old age, disease, marriage, breakup, divorce. I mean, you name it. The Ramayana, the Mahabharata, they all have it, everything. So any situation we struggle with, we look at the scriptures, we find an answer that Krishna himself has given example of. So Krishna has been mentoring these personalities in person and also us by his example. That's why the scriptures exist. And when we are sincere, it is our duty to call out for help. We should not expect that help will just come. Whether we call out to Krishna, my dear Krishna, please give me the intelligence. Whether we pick up the phone and call somebody who's guiding us in our Krishna consciousness, whether we open the scriptures and read them, it's our duty to find the answers. It's not right to say answers should just fly down to me. It might happen somehow or other, but it's important that we seek out help when we need help. So here we'll continue from text 5. Anybody wants to read?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
साधायित वजता शत्रो स्वं राज्यं हितावैरृतं गता गतायित्वसतर्रज्न कच स्पर्श शतायुष The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly uh, usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi.
Okay, thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthir, who had no enemy. Yudhishthir Dharmaraj, perfect. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. So it was recovered back. Now Yudhishthir is back in power. He's back to being the king who was initially, cheated. Unscrupulous means cheating people. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased. They were they were killed for the rough handling of the hair of Draupadi. So you can imagine who they're referring to. In the glorious days, or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. So it is important to understand that society needs to protect Brahmanas, cows, women, children, and elderly men. That's the role of a Kshatriya. The protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. The protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that is, milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. The protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadhan Samskara, the beginning of pure life. The protection of old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. Prabhupada is being a little critical of the modern civilization, where it's cats and dogs, as in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Animalistic life. Polished, better animalistic life. The killing of the above mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them, one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly they are not prop sorry, in the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of the life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even the women become unchaste for want of proper protection. There are unwanted children called Varna Shankara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Prash, please, what is your question?
So why is it indirectly written that the lifespan decreased? Uh, like, couldn't it be more direct, or like
It's
there's some?
sophisticated conversation. Because Sutta Goswami is speaking, so when great personalities speak, you will see in the Vedic system, they're quite subtle. Even when Krishna and Arjun speaks, because Krishna knows he's going to speak to the Kali Yuga people, he's more direct than he generally is. But even then, the way Krishna is subtle about hinting certain things, like, "Oh, son of Kunti," "Oh, descendant of the Vrishnis," right? By the name, by the angle, by certain things, Krishna is also very subtle. So this is a sign of, I'm forgetting the exact word. It's a sign of class in one sense, but that's not the word I want to use. I want to use finesse, refined, right? So rather than saying cut off his head, my Guru Maharaj says, like Shishupal's case, uh, Krishna made sure the talking part of the body gets disconnected from the rest of the body. He could easily say cutting off the head, but he says Krishna waited for the 100 uh, insults, and once that was done, Krishna Sudarshan Chakra went and disconnected the talking part of the body with the rest of the body. This is, sophisticated conversation. Okay, anything else? Any questions?
I think, bro, that answers the question. Thank you.
Most welcome. Now, I have a question for all of you. Draupadi had 5 husbands. Why is she being referred to as a chaste lady? Because we know women are supposed to be chaste to one husband, but here she was having 5 husbands. And I want to know from your side, what do you think? Why is she being called a chaste lady?
Probably
She is a
nat-
chaste lady. Yeah,
probably because she was following dharmic principles while being married to 5 husbands. So I learned it from you, Prabhuji, where you mentioned that there was times that she would only be with one husband at one time, and for, let's say, a certain period of time, and that's how she kept her chastity, because that's my understanding. Correct me
correct.
if I'm.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything?
He was following the elders, Kunti Devi's instruction, Prabhuji. By mistake, Kunti Devi instructed the Pandavas, and to keep her word, she married. So, which is why it is considered as dharma.
She was following dharmic principles, and then, when it came to the 5 husbands, like very rightly Prayash said, that 1 month with each husband, by looking at the shoes, others would know that this is who she is with. Outside the door, there'd be shoes, and based on that, they would understand that this month she is with this husband, that husband, like that. So it was chastity, one husband at a time. Uh, there is only one Draupadi, and she's extremely elevated. So, but so much so that she's called Krishna, right? Like she's Krishna like Krishna's very good friend. So it is sometimes people from other faiths might talk about Draupadi in a very derogatory way, but it's important that we understand why she's chaste and why she did what she did and how she maintained her chastity while managing 5 very powerful husbands. Very powerful woman. Okay.
Prabhuji, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, somewhere I read, because she was born out of fire, she could never be, she was always, that signified purity. Is that also relevant?
She was born out of what?
Fire,
Fire.
Agni.
Um, I don't know, Mataji. I've not heard that. So I can't validate yes or no. If there's a scriptural reference, you can let me know. But I have not heard something like that. Maybe true. But point is, yes, she's born out of fire and that purity is within her. But that there is also the fact that under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, she followed the instruction of her mother-in-law by accepting 5 husbands and maintained the principles that she was following with the 5 husbands under the Guru's instruction. So that's
Right.
important to understand that, we are in Kali Yuga. In this situation, there are many new situations that wasn't there in past yogas. And in that situation, what do you do when there is a new situation? Guru Sadhu Shastra. That's how Krishna speaks to us. And that's how we figure out things. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he created the Brahmacharya ashram, He was criticized. Why women brahmacharis? There's no such thing. But Prabhupada did. Men brahmacharis and women brahmacharinis. Men getting brahmana diksha, women getting brahmana diksha. Men going out for book distribution, women going out on book distribution. Men are worshipping on the altar in the temple, women are worshipping on the altar in the temple. Prabhupada kept women and men equally, paced. And he was criticized for it, but it was not outside the scriptures. There are scriptural evidence, and Srila Prabhupada, under proper guidance, under the guidance of Guru Sadhu Shastra, he did it. Mother Janava, Lord Nityananda's wife, and many such great devotees, from Kunti Devi all the way to Mother Janava. There are examples of women playing very important roles and being gurus and everything else. So it's important that we understand that there are exceptional situations, and in those situations, to be dharmic means to get guided by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra.
Right. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. GSS model 186. Anybody wants to read?
यजा यजायित्वा श्वमेधेस्तं त्रिभुर त्रिभिर उत्तमकल्पके तद्यश पावनं दिक्षु शतमान्योरिवातनोत्. Lord Shri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha yajnas or sacrifices to be conducted by Maharaja Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices.
Thank you, Mataji. So, first of all, let me kind of speak a little bit about Ashwamedha Yajna. Ashwa means horse, Medha means meat. That yajna, which is performed by sacrificing a horse. Now, often again, this is used as a point of criticism by other people. When we talk about vegetarianism, they say, "Oh, there was no problem in killing a horse and doing a fire sacrifice with it." So it was not the case that a horse was killed like a goat is killed. It was a horse was passed through fire, where an old horse that has traversed a certain distance, like Ashwamedha Yagya in Yudhishthira Maharaj's case was, going through his kingdom, where all the different principalities, different small kings were there, and the horse passing through there, and then coming back to the Yagya. So then the Purohit, the great sage, who is doing the sacrifice, he chants mantra to light fire. The fire comes from the mantra, and the horses pass through the fire, where the old horse body gets a new horse body. It's not killed and its meat is put in the fire. It passes through the fire by the siddhi, yogic siddhi of the Brahmana, and thereby the horse gets a new body. So it's not a cruel process or anything of that sort. Just like Sita Devi was put through fire and she came out of the other side, from Chaya Sita to real Sita, right? So same way, a horse is given a new body. So that's about Ashwamedha Yajna. Now Krishna, why did he arrange for 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas for Maharaj Yudhishthir? Because finally Dharma has been restored. Paritrada sadhuna vinashacha dushkrita. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Right? So Dharma samsthapanarthaya, that's one of Krishna's role as when he comes down to planet Earth. That's one of his roles, is to establish Dharma. So by helping annihilate the Kauravas and helping the Pandavas win, Yudhishthira Maharaj is established. Now, when we do a product launch, what do? We do a PR, media, press meet, telling everyone, hey, hello, we have launched this product. We get a brand ambassador, some big movie star or cricket star. So here, after the great victory, Krishna wanted everyone to know the virtuous fame, the glories of Yudhishthira Maharaj in all directions. So this was a way to broadcast. Hello, hello. Finally, there is new government in place in Hastinapur, and that government is being led by Yudhishthir Maharaj, and all the small kings will accept Yudhishthir Maharaj as the Chakravarti Samrat. That means the king of kings. And under his wise and dharmic ruling, the whole world will live happily and peacefully and protected by the army of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Lord Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha Yajnas to be conducted by Bharata Yudhishthir, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices. Yes, Prayash.
Prabhuji, is the process of Ashwamedha Yajna and Gomedha Yajna same?
I
Like the okay.
But yes, the idea is same. The old body goes in and the new body comes out.
So the cow is not killed in the
Nope,
Gomedha Yajna before giving a new body?
nope. Neither the horse is killed nor the cow is killed.
Okay.
They have simply passed through the fire.
All right, bro.
Okay.
Prati, I have a question
Yes,
on
ma'am.
similar lines, but Satyavati, right, King Shantnu's wife, Satyavati, she was the daughter of a fisherman. So, in that era, were fishermen doing the same work like today's world? Like, were the fishes skilled in that process?
Yeah.
And were the humans consuming it? Like,
Yes.
okay.
So Kshatriyas were non-vegetarians. So lower castes, so Kshatriyas were some vegetarian, some not vegetarian, but basically, for strength and whatever, they would do target practice. And the animals they would do target practice on, sometimes they would consume those animals. Not like a slaughterhouse thing, but basically that was a process. And lower castes, people who are Shudras and Vaishyas, often they would consume those. My assumption is, yes, they would consume.
All right, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So no, society was not fully vegetarian. There were people who had their urges of their tongue, and they would have it. Like, when you hear about Lord Jagannath, uh, we hear about the Shabaras, the pig farmers. I don't know what they were doing with the pigs. Why were they farming the pigs? Was it for meat? Was it for something else? I don't know. But even today, if you see Jagannath's pujaris, there are the brahmanas, but then there are the pig farmers who actually carry Jagannath out, and they're not vegetarians, they're non-vegetarians. But again, those are exceptions. Let's not get inspired to go in that direction. Yes, Shahid Prabhu.
হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভুজি।
Hare Krishna.
সো আমার এটা মনে হয় লাইক there is certain rules and regulation regarding that consuming non-vegetarian foods like goat meat or maybe some
Yeah. Yes.
তো লাইক আমরা যেটা বলি বলির মাংস যেটাকে হয় আর কি, তো এরকম ইনডিসক্রিমিনেটলি কেটে বিক্রি করা লাইক এইটা মনে হচ্ছে 21st সেঞ্চুরিতে মানে অনেকটা বেশি
Correct.
মানে ট্র্যাকশন পেয়েছে মার্কেটে, বাট there were no I haven't seen anything in scripture or maybe have found anything.
It's not meant to be that way. It's not natural to be that way. See, even animals, if you see a tiger and a zebra and a giraffe can drink from the same water. When the tiger is not hungry, it will not attack the giraffe or the zebra or the horse. Only when it's hungry, it attacks. But in human case, we just, we are greedy, and it's unfortunate. Factory farming and all that. So yes, for humans, there is process. On Amavasya night, goddess Kali temple, the goat is sacrificed, and the goat is told, Mam Saha, that so unto you as unto me, that I'm taking your life in this life, next life you can take my life. And then the goat is offered to goddess Kali, and then the meat is consumed.
Exactly. তো মানে অনেক বছর আগে, like in Kolkata, I have seen that in slaughterhouses there is a temple of Kali, and then they are selling after submitting that uh, meat to Kali Mata, then they will sell. So that is there. I mean, I have seen those, but right now, hardly I have seen this kind of slaughterhouses.
But
And
even that is not okay, right? I mean, what is this? You're just getting like a stamp of approval. Is Goddess
yes.
Kali agreeing to it? Is it a Amavasya night? Is it a Kali Puja? It's like Lord Shiva's followers. They will take ganja and say Shiv ka prasad, right? Did Lord Shiva approve of that? Lord Shiva he can do ganja, he can drink poison. Can we do that? But yeah, those are justifications for own
Correct.
sense gratification.
সেটাই।
Okay,
Okay,
anything else?
thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll continue. 8:11. We started at 7:30, right? Just we don't want to mess up the timing. Okay, yeah. So, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Moving on. Next verse. Who wants to read?
आमन्त्र्य पाण्डुपुत्रांश्च सैन्योद्धवसंयुतं द्वैपायनादिभिर्विप्रे पूजिते प्रतिपूजित. Lord Shri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu. After having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by the Srila Vyasdeva, the Lord also reciprocated greetings.
So now Krishna is planning to go back to Dwarka. Now that the war is over, Krishna has done his job. So, he's being, given the proper respect. Vyasadev being leading the whole thing. Now you have to understand, it's not a matter of age here, right? Vyasadeva is very old, but Krishna is Krishna. He's 125 years old, but probably age-wise, right? There might be discrepancies. But the point is, Krishna is still understood by all of them as God. And that is why he's been treated the way he's being treated, right? So he's amongst devotees, but he doesn't have to, be politically correct. Here, he is being treated as who he is. Of course, they're relative, but also understanding is there is God. He's God. Okay.
गन्तु कृतमतिर्ब्राह्मण द्वारका प्रथमास्थितम् उपलेभ्यभिधावन्तीम् उत्तरा भयविहलाम्. As soon as he seated himself on a chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying towards him in fear. उत्तरोवाच पाहि पाहि महायोगिन् देवदेव जगत्पते नान्यं त्वदभयं पश्ये यत्र मृत्यु परस्परम्. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of Universe, you are the greatest of mystic. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality.
Okay. Mataji, if you're tired, I can ask somebody else to read.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay.
अभिद्रवति मामीश शरस्तप्तायसो विभो कामं दहतु मानाथ मामे गर्भो निपात्यताम्. O my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my lord.
So Uttara coming to Krishna to protect Maharaj Parikshit, who is in her womb. And this arrow is coming. So she's praying to Krishna to save her child. Suta vacha upadharya vachastasya Bhagavan bhakta vatsalah apandvardavam idam kartum droner astram abudhyata. Suta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Shri Krishna, who is always very affectionate towards his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwadhama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. Tari evata muni sreshta Pandava pancha shayankan atmano bhimukhan diptan alakshyastrani upadadu. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. Vyasanam vikshaya tattesham ananya vishayatmanam sudarshena swastrena swanam raksham vyadhat vivibhu. The almighty personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan Chakra to protect them. Antastha sarvabhutanam atma yogeshwaro harihi swa mayaya vardot garbham vairatya kurutadvate tadvave. The Lord of Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within the heart, everyone's heart as Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. Krishna is right here. Yadyapi astra brahma stira tva amogham chaprati kriyam vaishnavam teja asatya sabasam yad frigudhavaha. O Shaunaka, glory of Bhrigu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwadhama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Shri Krishna. So no one can stop a nuclear weapon except the creator of all creations, right? So that's the glory here. Devotees of Krishna love to glorify Krishna, and they do it in such poetry. It's so nice to hear. I'll just read that one more time. O Shaunaka, the glory of Bhrigu's family, although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwadhama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu. Mamamstha hi etat ascharyam sarvascharya me chate ya idam mayaya devya srijati avati haddi ajaha. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activity of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. So it's not unnatural that Krishna comes and protects his devotees. It is what he does. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, annihilates all material things. So what is stopping an atom bomb when universes come out of its pores? Right? So it's not something extraordinary for Krishna to just stop an atom bomb. It's like, you know, he can create, he can maintain, he can annihilate anything material. Although he himself is unborn. He's not material. Reminder. Brahma tejo vinirmuktir atmajay sah krishnaya prayanam prayanabhi mukham krishnam idam aha prathasati. Thus, saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons, and Draupadi, addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. So Krishna protected his devotee and is like, okay, let's go. But as he's going, the grateful devotees are addressing him. Kunti uvacha namaste purusham tvadyam ishwaram prakrite param alakshyam sarvabhutanam antarbahir avasthitam. Srimati Kunti Devi said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. So here begins a very wonderful episode. This is called Queen Kunti's Prayers. Srila Prabhupada, in fact, took this whole section and made it into a book called Queen Kunti's Prayers because her prayers are especially extremely beautiful here. So Queen Kunti talks about very strong philosophical aspects. And again, you see how much of an erudite scholar she is. So it's not like women were unpar gawar, back in the days. That's what the British would make you feel, that they introduced education for women. No, women were very much educated, erudite, and scholarly. And we will see how beautifully Queen Kunti talks about highest level of spirituality and glorifies Krishna. And what I find very surprising about this section is Krishna's reaction and her satisfaction. Uh, I'll just give you the prelude because as she speaks these wonderful verses, Krishna, all he does is gives her a smile and she's fully satisfied. But Krishna doesn't agree to stay back until Yudhishthir Maharaj, who's the king and the host, he's the leader, he asks Krishna, please stay back. Right? Few more days. Don't go. Then Krishna stays back. Here is the thing. After giving such beautiful glorification to Krishna, any materialistic, envious person would be like, how dare you? You just gave me a smile and Yudhishthir spoke and you stayed back for him. Right? But that's the glory of, again, Kunti Devi, where she has no expectation for Krishna to reciprocate much. Krishna's smile is enough for her satisfaction. She's not comparing, oh, my son spoke and you stayed back, but when I spoke, you only gave me a smile. No, right? So devotees often compare themselves, right? Those are neophyte devotees. They compare, oh, that devotee is doing this and that devotee is getting all the attention. But that's not spiritual. In spirituality, we don't compare and contrast. We find happiness in our relationship with Krishna, in however he reciprocates. I'll take a break uh, and just share something about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So there was a time when Mukunda Datta, one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's very dear associates, he did some association with materialistic Mayavadis and all. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very upset. And he told, Mahaprabhu was sitting with all his entourage, and Mukunda Datta wanted to enter. Mahaprabhu told one of his servants, like, go tell him, I don't want to see his face. Now, when you love God so much, like, we are getting there. Mukunda Datta is like, there, right? When the love of your life says, I don't want to see your face. It's heartbreaking. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't say that actually. What he said specifically was, tell Mukunda Datta, I don't want to see him for 1,000,000 lifetimes, or something of that sort. Yeah, something of that sort. 1,000,000 lifetimes or hundreds of lifetimes. I don't want to see him for 1,000,000 lifetimes. So this person went and stopped Mukunda Datta and said, Mahaprabhu doesn't want to see you. Like, he doesn't want to see me? Like, he doesn't want to see you for 1,000,000 lifetimes. And Mukunda Datta started dancing in ecstasy. And this person was kind of flabbergasted. Like, what just happened? Mahaprabhu just said, I don't want to see you. And he's dancing. And he loves Mahaprabhu. So I don't get it. So he comes back to Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, what was his reaction? He said, I don't get it, Mahaprabhu. He started dancing. Mahaprabhu was like, what was he saying while he was dancing? He's like, he was dancing and saying, Mahaprabhu will meet me in 2,000,000 years. I'm excited. I'm excited. And Mahaprabhu said, okay, come, invite him back to my entourage. So the thing was, anybody would get insulted. Like, my life is dedicated to you, my Lord. How can you not want to see my face for making a small mistake? But Mukunda Datta was so enthusiastic in his devotion that for him, Mahaprabhu wanted him to wait for 1,000,000 years. He was okay with that, or 2,000,000 years, or whatever it was. He was okay with that. Like, after that, I got to meet him. In that ecstasy, he was dancing. That I'll meet him after so many lifetimes. So his enthusiasm was so strong that those millions of years smushed into a few minutes. And Mahaprabhu was like, bring him inside. So it's important to understand how Krishna thinks, how he feels. That often we might see that Krishna is not listening to us, he's not reciprocating with us, and we go like head to head with him. It won't work because, he's a. What did Prabhupada say? I don't want to use the wrong words. Anarchy, not anarchy. What is it? Transcendental autocrat. Yeah. He's a transcendental autocrat. Krishna is very much a dictator, right? You don't tell him what to do. He will do what he wants. Mother Yashoda tying Krishna with all these ropes, 9 million cow ropes. Krishna does not want to be tied up. He does not want to be tied up. Finally, when she's sweating and she's given up and she's surrendering, and Radharani gives her hair clip, Krishna's like, fine, okay, you can tie me up. So Krishna's like that, even with those level of devotees. So what to speak of us? So with us, when we're dealing with Krishna, we should not go head to head with him. We should surrender to him. We should show enthusiasm. Sometimes when Krishna is not reciprocating, you will be like, Krishna, I love you. I'm here. I'm going to serve you. I'm not going to Ganesh. I'm not going to Chandra. I'm not going to Durga. I'm not going to any other demigod. I am with you. And I am going to be with you. I'm yours, you're mine. You reciprocate, you don't reciprocate, you treat me like this, you treat me like that. Doesn't matter. I am yours. That's my loyalty to you. That's when Krishna's heart melts. When you go head banging with Krishna, it doesn't work because he's God, right? But when you surrender to him and you that enthusiasm is like, I'll wait. You want to make me wait? I'll wait. How many lifetimes? I'll wait for you. That's when Krishna's heart gets melted and he's like, okay, fine, come here, give me a hug. Where are you? Right? And you see amazing reciprocity coming in. So, these verses are not just to brush through. These verses are to understand how to deal with the Lord of our lives, right? How he is, how he reacts. So this Kunti Devi's prayer, it is very beautiful. It is very insightful about dharma. But what's most interesting is Krishna's reciprocation and her reaction, and how both, without too much show off, are fully satisfied with each other in their subtle relationship. That's truly an example to understand. So when we go through it, you will see how beautifully she goes. And these are complex verses because the realization of Kunti Devi is very up there, right? She is not at our level. She's at a very high level. And from her level, she is glorifying Krishna. So, it's not in my capacity, but I beg for your blessings and the Lord's blessings that somehow we will go through verse by verse. It's gold. It's pure gold. I'm so excited. In Bhagavad Gita class, we are doing chapter 9, confidential knowledge, and Shrimad Bhagavatam, we are doing Queen Kunti's prayers. Couldn't be better than this. So it's like gold in the morning, gold in the evening. So every verse we will go through very nicely. We will analyze, we'll hear. Please ask questions. Please listen carefully. Don't look at your phone when we go through these words of Quid Kunti glorifying the Supreme Lord. I'll end it here. Uh, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. And see you next Friday. Do not miss out on Quid Kunti's prayers. They're very, very special prayers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.